Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about process goals and a different approach, better approach to setting them. Before we jump into that, if you're wondering why I'm doing this in the middle of my long run, I'll give you 3 reasons. First reason is that I was going to make this video anyway, so I might as well be efficient and do it while I'm doing something else. Number 2, I don't really listen to music or audiobooks or have friends that want to run at 9 o'clock on a Friday morning, so I might as well entertain myself by talking to this camera. And number 3, I have a lot of the best thoughts, or at least what I think are my best thoughts, while running, and then 2 miles later I don't remember them, so might as well try to capture some of those. Now, do I look a little bit ridiculous carrying an action camera while I run? The answer to that is absolutely. But I also am a grown-ass 32-year-old man wearing tights and have pink flamingos on my hat. So I'm going to look ridiculous either way. Might as well be efficient and entertain myself. So when we talk about process goals, I think in general, what most people get wrong is that we're trying to find the best way to do something. And as just kind of a general society, we are really looking for optimization, and I think we're overdoing it. We're trying to over-optimize to the point where we're thinking about the last 1 to 5%, and we're sort of missing the main pieces. So when you're thinking about your process goals in relation to kind of your overarching main goal, I want to think about the 2 to 3 things that are most likely to sort of derail you. What are those couple major mistakes or errors that you could make that would be a major detriment to you reaching that goal? Just as an example, when I was coaching high school cross country, a couple things that happen pretty often were runners getting either shin splints, bone stress injuries, or anemia. Of course, there's other factors that go into getting ready and preparing, but you want to think about, could this end one of my top 10 runners' seasons? And the answer to all 3 of those things is yes. So really being mindful about how much you're loading, what you're putting into your body, that kind of a thing. So with that in mind, you can start to think about either the things that have kind of put you on the sidelines or prevented you from reaching your goals in the past, or you could think about, just generally speaking, the people that do reach your goals, what are some of the characteristics that they share in common, and then what are some things that might stop them from doing those things. So, I forgot to do laundry today, or, oh gosh, so now I have to carry my key. I don't have pockets. I have to stash my stuff, gels, in the side. I guess process goal number 1 for me is do my laundry on time. So when you think about the marathon, people who succeed in the marathon, which my ultimate goal, this year is to run 4:30 mile, but really it's to put myself, lay the foundation for a 2027 fast marathon. Another downside of not having pockets is not having a place to put my trash. People who have success in the marathon, or even just endurance events in general, generally speaking, they have sort of two things in common that they can control. They have a decently high VO2 max, and they have long-term accumulated chronic volume. And I know all three of those things basically mean the same thing, but just trying to emphasize that it's not doing 100-mile weeks for a couple of weeks at a time, and it's stacking weeks and months and years and years in order to reach kind of that ultimate potential. It's those two ideas that are essentially the main drivers behind my two goals this year of a fast mile and 2,000 total miles. And so I am almost at the turnaround point. Had to go to the bathroom, but stopping, I see Instagram contest. Snap a fantastic photo and tag us at WakeGov Parks. Ooh, I could win a water bottle? Alright, I'm gonna try to enter this contest. I don't even know if that's still going or that's a thing or not, but yeah, let's try to get a cool picture. Freeze frame. Okay, back to turnaround point. Here we go. 50 minutes in, 50 minutes back. Nice cruisy 100 minutes. For this year, the things that are most likely to kind of derail me is basically interrupted training blocks due to injury or illness. And then the other thing would be just like a slow rate of recovery. The 2,000 miles, I think, shouldn't be that big of a deal, but it's getting down to a 430 mile. It's going to take some serious recovering from hard workouts. So then you think, if those are the things that could potentially be negative setbacks, then how do you set your process to prevent that? Common mistake is underfueling, and just sort of finishing long runs, especially in a state of depletion, can kind of throw your body out of whack, your hormones out of whack. Rest of the day, energy levels go a little crazy. And so this year, it's probably not necessary for me to be fueling for like a 90-minute-ish run, but just gonna do it anyways. Plus, good practice for fueling in the marathon for whenever that comes in 3 years. The bike giving me weird looks. When it comes to kind of like overall mileage, a lot of things, something that I see pretty common is people aim for more and try to get their like maximum tolerable load rather than like that minimum effective load. So you want to be in between those two things. That way it's sustainable for a really long period of time. And for myself, for example, like there was 1 year in college where I averaged 80 miles a week for a whole year with considerable periods of over that of like 100 to 122 was the most I ever did. And granted, that was when I didn't have two kids and I slept a lot more. So I've also taken a whole lot of time of not doing that. It's been quite a long time. I'm getting old. And you want to basically prove that you can do a minimum effective amount before trying to add any more. And that window is a lot longer than most people think. It'll be fun to see where I'm at in a year. As Gordo Burns says, you want to skew errors left, meaning you want to make your error be doing less than that breaking point. Once you hit that breaking point, you're going to be a lot worse off than you would have been if you were just like only 80% fit. Trying for 100% and hitting 101 is a great way to get to 50% and not being able to train. It's not quite as heroic or badass to aim to do less than you think you can, but it's a whole lot more sustainable in the long run. All right, here's my Instagram contest picture. Let's see if we can get a good one. That's it. And this is another one where it kind of goes hand in hand with injury. If you're overworking yourself or under recovering, chances of you running your immune system down are pretty high. That being said, something that you probably have less control over. I have 2 kids in daycare. They're going to bring home some sort of virus every single day, it seems like. So kind of is what it is, and you just do your best in terms of the things that you can control, which would be like trying to get more sleep. Although, again, 2 young kids, that's not really up to me sometimes. Other ones would just be like hydrating and getting enough protein, getting enough calories, and getting enough, protein. But it's twice as important, especially when you start to build that mileage up. Protein does a whole lot more than just rebuild your muscles. Your amino acids are used for a whole host of things. That's the thing, is like a lot of these things, you get a little overcomplicated. And really, when you're thinking about that long-term sustainable approach, it's more like, is your energy level, how's it doing? Are you able to hit your workouts? Are you improving from your workouts? Just trying to find those little check-in points and being honest with yourself with, hey, I've been really irritable lately. My mood has been all over the place. Maybe I'm not fueling enough. Maybe I'm not getting enough sleep. Maybe I'm working out a little too hard. Those kind of things. And something that can kind of help with that and just give you that double, like, checking your blind spots is getting a coach. And so that's one of the things that I did for my process for this year is I hired a coach. Knowing how to do something is one thing, but like I said, it's those blind spots. Hard to tell the difference between listening to your body and listening to your ego sometimes. Yeah, I hired my buddy Reed Fisher, ran with him at Drake. Hopefully he'll come on the YouTube and podcast at some point and tell me all the things that I'm doing wrong, and I'll be all the better for it. We're at an hour and 17 minutes. This is Long Run Thoughts. It'll be kind of a fun series, I think, to just document long runs over the next several years. And my GPS is all wonky today, but just sort of see, what is easy, even though I'm slightly out of breath, quote unquote easy, is what it'll say on Strava. What this easy effort is. So it'll be like 8-minute pace, hopefully in like 2026, 2027. It's more like 6:30 pace. But a long way to go till then, one step at a time. One of the challenging things with these little process focus bits is that this stuff is easy to do, but it's also easier not to do and not to remember. And it doesn't seem to make an immediate impact on your banjos, your strides, your yoga, just upper body strength in general, all that stuff. It's pretty easy to not do. Also, in terms of just like something that I should do better at, but I don't do well at, is just drinking less alcohol. There's just like really nothing good from it. As much as I like a hazy IPA, it's like decreases your immune system and decreases muscle protein synthesis. You're not recovering, and it decreases testosterone, decreases your ability to deep sleep. So I'll try to do better at that. But no promises, I guess. Hopefully this technology worked. Maybe I may have to make this into more of a formal video, but it's kind of fun. Just sitting here talking to myself in the woods. Oh, there's a biker behind me. That's embarrassing. All right. And just the last thing about process goals in general is that, again, you're not aiming for perfect. The perfect system doesn't exist for 3 reasons. The first is that there are many factors that go into improving. Improving is very complex. There is so many things you don't necessarily know what strings you pulled. Sometimes you have great training blocks and crappy races. Sometimes it's the other way around. Most of the time it's in between. So improving is complex. Number 2, progress is not linear. Once again, you can do everything quote unquote right and still get stuck, still end up at plateaus. Sometimes you may go a little bit backwards. And the last thing, which is pretty much related as well, is that sometimes we can have success despite the process that we are using, not necessarily because of it. Because once again, it is complicated. The best we can do is try to make better mistakes, because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. And as long as you can make better mistakes, that is the road to progress over a long period of time. Till next time, happy training.